Hi, everybody. It's day 2 of our 30 Thoughts devotion that I'm putting out during this coronavirus self-quarantine, during the coronavirus pandemic. Yesterday, we spoke about rest, and today we're going to talk about anxiety. My name is John Henry. I'm the director of YWAM Converge, a ministry of youth with a mission, helping young adults complete missions projects with organizations doing good all over the world. Converge is a ministry for college, age, and career groups, connecting their students to learn to make a difference by bringing a witness of Jesus Christ through the arts, education, business, media, medicine, and technology, and so on. For this extended 30 days of quarantine in April, I'm doing these 30 thoughts for you. And here's day 2. How's your thought life? We're in a war. 2 Corinthians 10:4-6 says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not merely human, but they have divine power to destroy strongholds. We destroy arguments and every proud obstacle raised up against the knowledge of God." That's against knowing God. We destroy arguments against every proud obstacle that keeps us and others from enjoying an intimate friendship with God. And we take every thought captive to obey Christ. We're ready to punish every disobedience when your obedience is complete, Paul writes to the Corinthians. Today we're talking about one thought: anxiety, anxious thoughts. Philippians 4:6 reads, "Do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God." Do not worry. We need to take thoughts captive. That's why I named the personal devotional messages I created starting back in 1990. My personal devotions have been called Thought Captivation. And so this is 30 thoughts. I began attaching these devotional thoughts to our personal newsletter back in 1990 when I was encouraged by our North American leader to refire the teachings we received in our discipleship training school. And as I did so, I made those teachings mine. I rewrote them. I wrote them in a fashion that came out of my own personal devotion, meditating on those teachings, and then I just continued, and that became the blog that is called Thought Captivation. It's at johnthenry.com. So let's take anxious thoughts captive today. There are 4 major sources of anxiety, and one of them is when life is confusing. Anxiety is actually a good thing to help us to change. It's kind of like pain. It tells us, it's an indicator that there's something going on. Fear causes us to fight or flee or freeze, but anxiety prompts us to do something about our situation. So the second one is learning something new. We can get anxious when we need to learn something new. Anxiety helps us to know that you do not know. It spurs us on to become more informed and more competent. We're doing that now during the coronavirus. We're learning about washing hands and about how germs spread. This is helpful knowledge. And once you have that knowledge and you practice what you know, you're obedient to this truth, then you are less anxious. And then number 3 is uncontrollable circumstances. When you're out of control, some turn to anger or become critical of others when they're anxious because they cannot change their circumstances. The remedy for that is the surrender of control. You do what you can. You don't try to control others or what you cannot control. This is the fourth point, when we know we ought to do something, but we don't think we can do it. This kind of anxiety tells us that we need to make a change, and we know we need to do something, but we don't think we're able, or we start to make excuses. Humility and flexibility and effort are required to make changes necessary for you to do what you must. All of us need to make some changes now. Some of the changes resulting from this pandemic are significant. We're going to talk more about those changes. We're going to talk about the deep pruning that I believe God is doing in our lives, in our organizations, our way of life, even our church life. There's a deep pruning going on, and God's about that. And it comes from a word I've received through our Youth with a Mission leaders, and particularly Tom Bloomer. So I'll be sharing some of that. So thanks for listening. And if you want to check out my thought captivation blog, go to johnthenry.com. Remember to wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Sanitize surfaces and doorknobs, and keep a safe social distance. We'll get through this 30 days of self-quarantine and get through this coronavirus pandemic together.